So far, we've done quarterback and wide receiver strategy for rookie drafts. And for 2024, the running back strategy is going to be super interesting because we don't really have like a stud in this class. The one stud that we really like, which is Jonathan Brooks out of Texas, tore his ACL at the end of last year. So we just don't know what to do. And you have guys saying Braylon Allen, he's really good and he's going to be awesome. You have guys saying Braylon Allen is not good and I'm going to be fading him. You guys saying Trey Benson's this really good running back. And other guys be like, I don't like Trey Benson at all. Audric Estime, people are like, he's fat. And some people are like, oh, I love Audric Estime. And a lot of those are Notre Dame fans, which, Notre Dame fans, being from Indiana, they are a little bit delusional. But still, what are you doing with this running back? What's our strategy for rookie running backs this year? And I'm going to cue you in on mine at least.
Okay.
I'm taking some shots on rookie running backs in the second and third round of rookie drafts this year. So let's talk about the entirety of the rookie running back class as we have it right now. Let's talk about the top, 11 or so. So you have Jonathan Brooks at the top. He is our running back one at the moment. Right now, Jonathan Brooks probably projected to go second or third round. Mid-second to mid-third, you'd say. And he's projected when he comes in as a dynasty running back, if he goes in the second or third round, he's probably going to be around the running back 12 to 18, I think, in Dynasty. So Jonathan Brooks, again, he wouldn't have gotten the draft capital, or he wouldn't have declared for the draft if he wasn't sure that he was going to get the draft capital, if him and an agent weren't sure, because honestly, it would have been smarter for him to go back to school. But he came out. So at the top, we really have Jonathan Brooks, but in the same tier, really, here at the top, I mean, you have a number of guys. Braylon Allen, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people, he's their wide receiver one, running back one. Trey Benson, a lot of people's running back one. Estime's not really. Really, it's those three guys at the top that a lot of people are kind of moving back and forth. So those are the first tier of guys. And really, these first tier of guys are going to be found in the second round. Now, what we have found recently is that you have typically, those really good stud running backs at the beginning, that get taken in the top 6 picks. That's going to be guys like Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs. Trying to think that the year before that I didn't have any running backs, I don't think. Who was before? Travis Etienne was one of those guys. Breece Hall. Thank you. That's who I was missing. Those are the studs. No studs in this class. You're not taking a running back top 7. But Jonathan Brooks, I think Jonathan Brooks is the only guy out of this group that can go top 8. And then the question is, do you take a running back that early? My best guess is that we're going to get them in the second round. And in the second round, how often are you taking running back over a position like quarterback, a position like wide receiver that is more insulated? It's just, and a lot of it's going to depend on...
I'm almost always taking a running back over a quarterback in the second round because you don't generally see QBs drafted in the second round of NFL drafts. It's either first round or it's third, fourth, fifth. And usually those third, fourth, fifth guys are prospects that the Dynasty community was high on as prospects. They fall, like Malik Willis, and people reach on them in the second round. They're not worth taking. See Desmond Ridder. Sam Howell, even Sam Howell, honestly, to an extent, yeah, he increased in value quite a bit this year, but then he fell because guess what? He's not an NFL starting quarterback. He's just not, regardless of situation. You can give excuses. I understand the excuses. I feel bad for the guy. But, why would I take a shot on that when I can take a shot on a running back who, in this bear landscape right now especially, dude, you just saw a ton of running backs this year get opportunities that you never thought would, even a Ty Chandler. Come on. You don't even have to spend a second round pick on a Ty Chandler. You're getting those guys in the third or fourth round. So if you can spend picks on guys in the second round, even late second round who go third or fourth round, please, by all means do. We just saw this with Dameon Pierce a year ago. He increased in value quite a bit. You're getting to a point where, the biggest point here, I think, is this is a big play the market move. This is not draft a running back in the second round to hold them forever and for always, because that's what we did with a guy like Dameon Pierce. We didn't capitalize on the positive market value that you could have gotten if you traded him away. We knew that his draft capital wasn't ideal. We're waiting on Roschon Johnson to finally get the bit of opportunity that we expect him to, so we can ship him off. But that's kind of the idea, is when you're looking at opportunities, and obviously wide receiver is going to be unique because when you get a chance to get a day 2 wide receiver in the second round, please take it.
Yeah.
But with the running back specifically, there's not really a better position other than wide receiver to go just take a shot on a guy. Take a shot on a guy who could get an opportunity, and because of the landscape. They're going to increase in value significantly. It happens every single year. And I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to look at some of these rookie running backs that went since dating back to 2021, like in the second or third round. So Alexander Madison went in the second round in 2021. Michael Carter went in the second round. If you remember, before the Jets drafted Breece Hall, Michael Carter was significantly valuable. He was very, and still is a very effective receiving running back. And let's look in the third round too. Chuba Hubbard, Kenneth Gainwell, Elijah Mitchell.
All guys that have been valuable at one point or another.
Elijah Mitchell was very valuable for a stretch there because that was kind of the end of the glory days of running backs. He ended up being a top 15 Dynasty running back. That
Michael Carter peaked at running back 18 in Dynasty.
Yep.
18. Mm-hmm. So it's a zig when they zag move, right? Because a lot of people are going to look at this class and say, there's no Bijan and there's no Jahmyr Gibbs, so I'm not touching running back. That's silly. And it's going to push running backs so far down the board that you need to take them because draft capital for running backs is becoming increasingly less important. It is not important anymore for running backs to have second round draft capital. Devon Achane did it last year. Devon Achane did not get second round draft capital, and he did just fine. Isaiah Pacheco, the starting running back for the Super Bowl team 2 years in a row, did not have second round draft capital or first.
Yeah. And just to continue that thought, like in 2022, speaking of Isaiah Pacheco, I mean he was a fourth round rookie pick.
Yeah. Until the training camp hype started and everybody was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
But then you're getting him for a third,
But then you had to pay more for him, and that's when we didn't like him. If you were to take a shot on Isaiah Pacheco, do it during the rookie draft. Do it before the training camp hype, because don't believe the training camp hype. That's a whole other story for a whole other day. But like Rachaad White, another one of those guys, consistently second round. Isaiah Spiller didn't pan out. A lot of that was because people were unwilling to accept the fact that he was not good. Dameon Pierce, another guy that I already mentioned, TDP, he was a third round guy that San Fran went to. You took a shot on him, absolutely respectable. It didn't work out. Tyler Algier worked out. Brian Robinson worked out. Zamir White actually ended up working out. You can sell him at a premium right now. It's just crazy. Like, and we haven't even seen what could happen to some of these guys in the future that went in the second round in 2023. Expect Kendre Miller to increase in value. Mm-hmm. Expect Zach Charbonnet to continue to increase in value.
Yes, he will.
Roshan Johnson, Devon Achane already happened to him. Tyjae Spears, probably the biggest example of this outside Devon Achane. I mean, he's a guy that people are like, well, he doesn't have an ACL. He went in the third round, dude. If he's falling to you in the second round of a rookie draft, please just take him.
So you've got really three guys up here that are in that category. Brooks, Allen, and Benson. Mm-hmm. And instead of having to take them at the end of the first this year, you're going to get them in the mid-second. Late second. Because we've gravitated so much towards wide receivers, honestly. Like, quarterbacks make sense. But wide receivers, man, if nobody's going to be taking these running backs, we absolutely will. Because I'll tell you right now, Jonathan Brooks could be a starting NFL running back. Trey Benson and Braylon Allen, I'm not sure about, but I know they'll have a role. You're telling me Braylon Allen's not better than A.J. Dillon or as good as A.J. Dillon? Because I think he is. I think he is. I really do think he is. But then you have guys like Audric Estime. Audric Estime could be a bruiser back for somebody. I've seen worse bruiser backs than Audric Estime. Bucky Irving. I think Bucky Irving has a really high ceiling, honestly. He's a pretty well-rounded back. Not to mention Will Shipley on that note. Will Shipley, also, Clemson, really, really solid receiving upside. Not projected to go super high in the draft. Could an NFL team end up utilizing his skill set? Yes. Mm-hmm. Marshawn Lloyd could be higher on this list. Marshawn Lloyd was really good. Breakaway. Rushing yards over 10 yards per attempt. Yards after contact. All of those grading out super high for this class. Yards per carry, 7.1. Yards per touch, 8.2. Projected right now in the mid-third to late fifth, but it could easily go up. Marshawn Lloyd could end up being one of the better running backs in this class. He really could. And you're going to get him maybe in the third, right?
Yep.
Blake Corum is here. Blake Corum, you just saw play for the national champion Michigan Wolverines and actually looked really good.
Top-notch vision.
And you have one side that says Blake Corum is Ray Rice. And you have another side that says Blake Corum is nothing in the NFL. And right in between smacks his value. And his value is going to be late second to mid-third. and you're going to draft Blake Corum there. Because Blake Corum, well, I'm not totally sure about him. If an NFL team is willing to draft him in even the 3rd round, even the 4th round, absolutely, I'm going to draft Blake Corum. Again, what has happened is because there is no stud running back, all of the running backs you normally get in this range, you're now getting in this range. And you know what they say? When they zig,
we zag.
And today we are zagging, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and that's why over at flockfantasy.com, our community where we do blueprints for people, customizable team blueprints, we are telling people, especially on rebuild, go get those 24 seconds. Please go get those 24 seconds, because at that point, I'm not afraid of you getting a running back as a rebuild, because you have a pretty good chance that they're going to increase in value in the future, and you can either keep them if they're looking really good, or you can ship them off for a premium to contenders that are desperate for running backs because of injuries. And you can tell them about the new release that we have over flockfantasy.com.
Guess what I'm reading off of right now during this video? What am I referencing to give you content? The 2024 Dynasty Domain Rookie Draft Guide.
Dude.
That is what I'm referencing, and it's right here in front of me. Look, I'm going to show you. Look. I was just talking about Blake Corum. There he is.
That's real nice stuff right there.
You can have access to this, what I use during the videos, our rookie draft guide. And you sign up with code DOMAIN at flockfantasy.com/domain. Not only do you get the updated 2024 Dynasty Rookie Draft Guide, which will have multiple versions and will be very in-depth, but you also get a team blueprint, which is a comprehensive multi-year plan for your Dynasty team that will help you win your Dynasty championship. Custom created by us. We go through, we look at the teams, we give you personalized advice, what the best route for your Dynasty team is, what kind of team is it, what we're going to grade it top to bottom, and then you're going to be in DMs with us, and we're going to talk you through everything you want us to, whether it's like, yeah, I saw my blueprint, I don't need anything, or it's like, hey, what do I do with this trade? What do I do here? What do I do in this rookie draft? That's what we're here for. So sign up with code DOMAIN, flockfantasy.com/domain, choose the mode of flock tier. You get all the stuff that, it's pretty cool. And cool stuff is cool.
It's real cool. It's real cool.
And then you've got a tier of guys down here, Blake Watson, Frank Gore Jr. Frank Gore Jr., that's Frank Gore's son.
Oh.
This is James Cook effect.
Oh, I was just going to say that, man.
Yeah. And Ray Davis. Ray Davis, honestly, another guy. Right now.
Interesting. He's very interesting.
He's interesting. He's not projected to go high in the draft.
Because he's old. It's a Chase Brown thing.
But again, really good dominator rating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean,
and this is something too where we're telling you take shots on running backs in the 2nd round. Don't just be flippant about it. Again, do your homework. And what are some things that we really value that we think you should be targeting in those 2nd rounds of your rookie drafts? I'm looking personally at yards per reception. I'm not just looking at targets and receptions. I'm looking at what are they doing with the ball in their hands in the receiving game. What's going on here? Can they be a weapon in the pass game for the NFL team that they're drafted by? And that's the name of the game in the NFL right now. It's a passing league. That's why guys like James Cook, who, aren't the most amazing runners in college or anything, end up having relative success because they fit really well into that system. I'm looking at a guy like Trey Benson right now who has a lot of question marks, but he's got over 10 yards per reception. He's got 11.4 yards per reception in 2023. So we have not, and I'm excited to do research on this because I think there is a significant correlation, but given a minimum threshold of a certain number of receptions and seeing the yards per reception that running backs get in college their last year going into the NFL, my threshold that I'm looking for is around 9 yards per reception. And if they're over that, I'm really excited about it. We saw this with Jahmyr Gibbs last year. There are a lot of people that were downers on Jahmyr Gibbs as a prospect, and a lot of it was because of his size. Same with Devon Achane. We were in that boat with Devon Achane. We weren't with Jahmyr Gibbs. We were buying Jahmyr Gibbs. But the situation with them was they're so good in the receiving game. They have questions in the run game, but it wasn't just so good in the receiving game. They were dominant. They were the best of the best in college. Jahmyr Gibbs, very Austin Eckler-esque in the receiving game, averaging 10 yards per reception. So I'm looking at some of these prospects here that aren't nearly as good as a guy like Gibbs, not nearly as fast as a guy like Achane, but can they make some noise? Trey Benson, one of those guys. Heck, even Audric Estime, he's at 8.4 for a guy that's labeled as a bruiser running back, that's a bell cow that doesn't have a ton of receiving ability. He could make some noise here. He has more yards per reception than Bucky Irving. Not as much usage though, and that's a big thing you want to look at as well. Don't look at just usage in the receiving game. Don't look at just yards per reception. Look at both. Try to bring them together and see which ones you really believe could be effective in the NFL.
Some quick hitters there on that. 11.4 yards per reception for Jonathan Brooks.
That's why, yeah.
4.7 for Braylon Allen, which we know Braylon Allen's not really a receiving back.
Yeah.
But
now part of that, and there's a big caveat because we like Braylon Allen. We know Wisconsin running backs do not get utilized in the receiving game, and we've seen Wisconsin running backs be utilized in the receiving game in the NFL because they just were never given that chance in college.
It's happened multiple times.
Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I mean that was everybody said he could not. Go read the pre-draft analysis of Jonathan Taylor, and everybody thought he couldn't do anything in the receiving game.
Yeah.
Trey Benson 11.4 again. Audric Estime is at 8.5.
Marshawn Lloyd is 17.8, but that's a little bit skewed because he wasn't utilized a ton, but
enough. I mean, 13 receptions for 232 yards.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. That's enough to be like, oh wow,
yeah,
13. Like, yeah, that's some samples. That's what I was getting at though. Yeah, and then guys like Blake Corum, Will Shipley, around the 7 range. So it's going to be interesting. I do think the 17 yards per reception for Marshawn Lloyd.
He's a guy to keep an eye on.
I honestly is.
Absolutely sure. Like it's
I like Marshawn Lloyd.
Yep.
Anyways, that's kind of our overall strategy. Again, you're going to be getting guys later. We're going to be taking a lot of running backs because even this part of it, think about guys that are backing up starting running backs. And as soon as the starting running back gets hurt and you have these guys step in,
they go up in value. Done.
Immediately.
Guys, it's the vacated volume fallacy. It's Alexander Madison, Zamir White. If anything, if you don't even like the prospects and you just want to get them off your hands eventually once they increase in value, you're going to get a chance to. You're going to get a chance to eventually.
Yeah.
So take your shot.
Absolutely. All right. That's going to wrap it up. Let us know what you think of our running back strategy. Do us a huge favor. If you play Dynasty, drop a like and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you guys. Hey, if you want the rookie draft guys, you can look at all these yourself, all these quick hitters, all these stats that we reference, and also get a team blueprint for your Dynasty team. Get a plan for your Dynasty team as a whole. Flockfantasy.com/domain. Use code domain. You have to use code domain when you sign up. Have to use code domain.
Domain.
Have to use code domain. Bye.